Mobile games. It really seems like there's just no escaping them, even for dinosaurs like me. But seriously, how could I possibly resist when they're just flaunting collectible waifus at me? Oh, and an original crossover story spanning multiple animes and light novels. You know, if you're into that kind of thing. Dengeki Bunko Crossing Void is a huge, free-to-play, crossover, turn-based, mobile, gacha game RPG. Kami-sama, what are these game genres becoming? Released exclusively for Android mobile devices, featuring franchises under the Dengeki Bunko brand, basically a Japanese publishing company that primarily focuses on releasing Japanese light novels that often get manga and anime adaptations. Think Shonen Jump for those of you not as entrenched in weeb culture. And as such has a plethora of popular IPs to pull from for their crossovers, including franchises like A Certain Magical Index, A Certain Scientific Railgun and Accelerator, Toradora, Spice and Wolf, Shakagon no Shana, Strike the Blood, Accel World, and of course, the anime community's most beloved, universally praised, containing absolutely no controversy whatsoever, and could never in a million, billion, trillion years even dream of splitting the anime community down the middle. I am of course talking about Sword Art Online. NANI? Yeah, feel free to leave your praise in the comments below. I'm looking forward to reading that. Now, if seeing all these characters coming together seems familiar to you, well, it should. Released back on the PS3, PS4, and the Vita, Crossing Void borrows heavily from another Dengeki Bunko game, Fighting Climax, a 2D versus fighter that I also covered here on the channel a while back, if you're interested. And with it borrowing so much from a game that I already liked, it's pretty easy to see why I'd be drawn to this one. But how much do they actually have in common? Well, graphically speaking, it might as well just be the same game, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Most of the sprites and animations are ripped straight from Fighting Climax, and they look as awesome as ever. Seeing some of my favorite anime characters getting highly detailed animated sprites still brings a smile to my face. And all the animated manga does too. The aesthetic here is wonderful. But that being said, not all the art is completely identical. Updates, improvements, and simply new additions have been made. Obviously, new characters are given, like Alice from SAO Underworld, but also some new animations are here too. Check out Misaka's Railgun, here's Fighting Climax, and here's Crossing Void. And let's not dismiss all the new team attacks that range from cool to hilarious. Discovering the new and different combinations is most certainly a plus. Oh, and hey, look at that! Even the game's got excellent taste with their pairings. I ship it. Also in good taste is the music, which is extra impressive when you really stop and realize that the game has so many iconic franchises, but doesn't use music from any of them. And it still kicks ass. Though it does need to be mentioned that, like the graphics, some of the tunes have been recycled from Fighting Climax, which again, isn't a bad thing. And let's be real here. When a game has the balls to include a soundtrack with the standard regular purchase, you know they've got confidence in their tracks. And as they should, the music in both Fighting Climax and Crossing Void is excellent and catchy as hell. I've caught myself humming these tunes plenty of times, especially the battle music, which is particularly good with a strong action-oriented feel. It's very punchy and works well with such flashy combat. Even the holiday variants are surprisingly good. I never would have guessed that I'd hear Christmas-themed battle music. And even outside of battle, when you're just fiddling with the menus, items, and, etc., the music is still charming and fun. This may be a weird way to describe this, but all the music feels very anime, which for a crossover game like this, feels right. And you know what else might feel right to the most hardcore of weebs? Why, the dialogue, of course. Yeah, this is a good time to mention that all the spoken dialogue is in Japanese. Or, in other words, the game is subbed only.
俺も帰るから。
変わった人ね。って、一体何が起こったの？
which for many is not only the best way to enjoy anime, but the one true way. Though that really does come down to personal preference. A preference that has divided the anime community for decades as the sub-dub war rages on. Though in this day and age, most of us valiant soldiers have moved on to far greater and more important battles in the great waifu wars. Asuna's best girl, don't at me. Though, seriously, I doubt that even for the dub-only crew, the subtitle styling of this game will be much of an issue, as the story bits are pretty short and somewhat far and few in between, which is an actual genuine issue with this game. So, the major draw of this game, one of the major draws of this game, is for an epic crossover story between a lot of my favorite characters, and if the opening cinematic is any indication at all, that's what we're gonna get. Of course, thus far there have only been so many chapters available, and while I haven't hit the last one yet, I'm pretty close, and the story hasn't even begun to rev up. And some of the characters in the opening aren't even in the actual game yet. Poor Holo. First season 3, and now this? Tisk tisk tisk. And Kingdom Hearts UX has been around for years now, and new story bits are still dropping, so it really seems to be the nature of mobile games to progress like this. And thus far, I have hope for a quality story. You'll get your time, Holo. You'll get your time. But still, the way the game just drip feeds us story is actually pretty annoying. Take a look at this. Each chapter opens up with 3 story segments. Then you basically have to fight through a gauntlet to reach the next chapter for more of those juicy story bits. And this just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. You would think the story pieces would be scattered throughout the chapter, maybe in some kind of combination with the fight opponents? But no, the opponents unfortunately don't actually matter. It's just your team versus whatever enemy combination the game throws up against you. This does make for quality fights, but not meaningful ones. They all feel like random battles. Fighting Climax's story is utter garbage, but at least there was a reason why you were fighting against characters from other worlds. But not here. They're just obstacles, nothing more. They really should have just pulled a Smash Ultimate and made them like shadow clones or something. But at least since there's so much emphasis on the combat, they at least went and made it really cool, with a nice twist on turn-based mechanics. Crossing Void uses a 3v3 turn-based system. Teams are made up of characters of your choice, assuming you've unlocked them, with 3 main fighters and 3 support characters, and each pairing alters the main fighter's attacks and stats, with each main fighter having 2 basic moves, a super move, and a support move. Basically where a support character shows up and actually does something. But there can also be a 4th move. If the 2 linked characters possess a cross skill, then they'll get a bonus team attack option, which are just cool to see, on top of being very useful. But the real unique thing about these fights is the MP system, for lack of a better term. All 3 characters share MP, with the total going up by 1 each time it's one of your character's turns. And you start each fight with a finite amount, so you could probably see where this is going. Since stronger moves require more points, using up more MP with one fighter means less options available for another. Except, and now here's the catch, all points used transfers over to the special bar for your super move. So for example, using a high MP cost move that lowers your opponent's defense might in turn fill up your special bar for your next character to just slam those same debuff foes even harder. It's a really well thought out battle system that rewards thinking ahead and trying out different character combinations, especially since the computer cheats.
I see you, game. I know you didn't save up the points for that special.
This game is actually pretty tough. Realistically, you are going to have to grind and jump full into the gacha mechanics if you want to stand any kind of a chance. Wait, stop. Don't click off just yet. I don't mean by spending IRL money. And let me just put this out there. Thus far, I haven't spent a cent on this game. But the truth is that gacha mechanics, in-game purchases, microtransactions, or whatever you want to call them, are here to stay. There's simply no avoiding it. And personally, for a game as cool as this, I don't actually mind spending money to keep it going and fill those hungry developer bellies. They gotta eat too, you know. But I'm not a chump either. I am a responsible adult with my money.
I got my girl Shana here for half off.
So I divided the gacha mechanics up into two categories, time and money. You know, those two things that none of us ever seem to have. First, time. Now you are going to have to spend a decent amount of your time simply grinding and collecting if you want to stand any chance at progressing through this story. I've technically already sunk 70 hours into this game and I'm only at chapter 8. You have to level up your characters, level up their ranks, collect gear, level up the freaking gear. I think you get the point. And of course, each method of leveling requires its own specific MacGuffin to do it. So yeah, lots of grinding. But to be fair, outside of the main story, there are a lot of extra missions and events available to help out with that. And even better, the game does have an autoplay mechanic, ironically called Lifesaver. Ha! So you can grind while doing other things.
Behold my gaming prowess.
Even better, you can increase grinding drops by spending more energy to help you reduce grinding times. However, once you're out of energy, you basically can't play anymore until it replenishes. Probably a method to keep people from going overboard. Still, energy replenishes on its own, and I never really had much of an issue with it. And if it's really that big of a problem for you, you could always use real money. Now here's what I'm betting everyone really wants to know: how real money purchases tarnishes the game. Well, honestly, for the most part, it doesn't. Manga, whatever. The equivalent of IRL currency can be earned in-game as well as purchased directly through a membership setup. This currency can be used to purchase a few things like character color swaps, for example, and they can also be used to get new characters. But the game gives you a free gacha pool every day and is pretty generous with these free pool tickets. The only real problem are the special characters. At the time of this video's making, one special character and two variants have been released: Alice from SAO, as well as Dual Blades Kirito and Butterfly Princess Snow Black. Now these characters are limited time and can only be pulled using the in-game currency, and it's still a gamble whether or not you get them. But you are guaranteed the pull after 91 tries. With each pool costing 150 of the currency, even if you purchased the freaking $80 package with the double your value first purchase deal, you still wouldn't have enough to guarantee the character you want. It'd just be slightly above a 2/3 shot, which is utter BS. That money could go to so many more important causes.
Every day, innocent waifus are being left on cold, soulless retail shelves, and they're crying out for your help. Please call the number on your screen for a simple donation of just $80 or one microtransaction. You can give them a warm, loving home. Please help us to protect these precious smiles.
Okay, but in all seriousness, unless not being able to get your hands on every character really bothers you that much, or is just a simple deal breaker for you, I get it. The microtransactions really aren't that big of a deal and can realistically be ignored. I have thus far, and I'm still really enjoying this one. Dengeki Bunko Crossing Void is a genuinely enjoyable free-to-play RPG. The graphics and sound are top notch, and its take on turn-based combat is both challenging and fun. And as a fan of multiple of the featured anime franchises, I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing where this game's story ultimately leads. And sure, the game does have its shortcomings, but they're mostly the same shortcomings that are present in all gacha games, being a time sink and microtransactions. And let's be real, it's not going away. But if you can look past that, I think you'll enjoy this one. If you're a fan of RPGs or anime, let's be real here, if you're one, you're probably the other, then you should definitely check it out. It's free to try, so I'd say you've got nothing to lose, but it's also addictive as hell, so, you've been warned. Have fun.
Hey everyone, Spammer D here. Thought I'd try giving a live outro a shot for a change. Though it's a bit hard because I'm a little addicted to this. Yeah, I'm actually playing it while I'm recording. But you know what? It was worth it if you all enjoyed the video, which I really hope you did. And if you did, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. Also, down below, why don't you tell me about any games you're addicted to? I'm definitely interested in hearing about that. Also, a special shout out to the melancholy of you for helping me out with this video. I really appreciate it. Go check him out on Twitter if you get the chance. And until next time, everyone, never stop gaming.